Guys, this is a very interesting conversation with Crystal Ball and Cenk Hugo. I love this conversation. This conversation is fucking awesome, guys. I love this conversation because Crystal Ball is telling Cenk that, yo, I don't believe in Trump, man. I don't believe in Trump at all. Like, this guy is like, he's such a liar. And Cenk is trying to prove to Crystal that, everything has changed in the world. The whole world changed. And the Republican is not the same Republican Party that it used to be. Oh, it says 2016. Everything has changed. It's a new Republican Party. Believe me, Crystal, this is better than what we ever seen before. And Crystal is like, she's skeptical, and Cenk is trying to like get her on board, but it's a tough fight. So I want to go over this, and it's a very fun topic that was going on between Cenk and Crystal. I want to go over it because it's so interesting. Because this is what's going on right now on the left, right? There's a lot of shit going on the left. Like, so basically, on the left, after the Trump election win, everybody say that we need to fight harder than ever before. Not everybody. The super left, the extreme left, we need to fight actually harder than before. But there's just the young Turk. They had a conversation with Donald Trump Jr. They had a conversation with Elon Musk that they want to cut the Pentagon. Elon Musk agrees with that, and Donald Trump Jr. agreed with that. But those are not stated official. So now Jake Hugo took a huge gamble on himself, on his career, and he said that, you know what? Let me jump on that bandwagon. Let's go. Let's cut the Pentagon, but with two people that are not officially elected as in the office, right? So this is a kind of a gamble. But you got the people on the left like Crystal Ball and everybody else. They are telling Cenk like, yeah, I don't trust this because I'm 1000% with Crystal on this one. I do not believe that billionaires should be involved should have any influence over the government. Nothing at all. I think I'm not saying F the billionaire. I'm not those kind of people. But I'm saying that like billionaires should have no access to the government. Like influence, lobbying, all that stuff should end. It shouldn't be like the government should be there for the people, only for the people. We should make it illegal for billionaires to have access to the government and to lobby and to give politicians money like that. It's not good because then the country is only working for them. We need a government that cares about both people. I'm not like saying F the billionaire. I'm saying like you need a government that understand. Okay, this is the way the billionaire thing works. Jeff Bezos helped America. We can say that he did help America. He created millions of jobs. This is a big company, and then we get the revenue from that company. So it's a very good thing. But we don't want to give Jeff Bezos too much flexibility or leeway. You know what I'm saying? Everything has a limit. So that's the way I look at it. But now Elon Musk is getting government contract, I think, from the Pentagon, and now he's saying he's gonna cut the Pentagon. So many people don't believe him, like Crystal Ball from Breaking Point. And I agree with Crystal Ball 100%. I think Jake Hugo is taking a huge gamble, but I like the gamble, guys. I do like the gamble because I feel like it can work out for him. It might. Like even in a minuscule way, and even if it's minuscule and it's small, it's still good. I'm gonna tell you why. Because we do need to bridge the gap a little bit. I don't like this thing of left and right. Some people love that stuff because that's where I think they make. Some people also it's because that's where they make money. But I think it's good to bridge the gap. If you can bridge the gap and you win at this, if Jake Hugo is successful at this, it's awesome. So I'm like on the side of Jake a little bit. Like let's try something new. You know what I'm saying? Because the bashing of the mega group, the bashing, it does work. It has not worked. No, it has not worked because we lost the election. But the way I feel about the Trump thing, it's like we got to give it a shot. But I still think we have to be very careful. What Jake is doing is more. What Jake is doing is more risky than what the left is doing. The left is doing the regular thing. Oh, let's just bash mega. Let's talk shit about mega. But what Jake is doing is a huge risk because I personally believe that mega, when Trump does something crazy, mega is not gonna push back. I have like a 70% chance, 60%, 70% chance that they're not. But there's a 30% that's fun. That's the 30% that Jake is talking about. I like to play with that 30%. I like to know what's gonna happen. Everybody gonna say like, yo, Trump, like whatever Trump do, just like 2016 is the greatest thing because they have to think about the mega. This is what I want to tell to mega. You have to think carefully about this, right? Let's say you play that game. Okay, let's play that game. After 2024, Trump is gone. There will be no more Trump, and now you fucking the country, and Trump is a billionaire. So it's your life that's fucked up. So you don't want to do that too much too. But I understand why mega is so powerful these days. I'm gonna tell you who created mega. It is the left. I think it's the extreme left that created MAGA. With their crazy policy of like open borders and also crazy policy, and they always say that throwing immigrants under the bus. It's not that, but it's also a crazy policy about like I don't think the transgender thing is a real issue. I think it's economical policy that are kind of like not really like very you don't really see it because the left has mangled with the right wing a little bit. So they created a party that is not like cutthroat when it comes to like taking care of the left issue. So basically, the left, according to many people on the left and the right, that says that the left are just like kind of like the right wing. Like when Obama looked at the 2008 crisis, he did not punish the bankers. You see what I'm saying? He let them go, and it was too big to fail. They got their money, they got their bonus, everything went back to normal. For the 2008 crisis, the way I feel about it right now, it's like what it should be done. It's like the government should have a capacity to just like kind of like own those companies. Like I really believe that if you're too big to fail, you can fail inside my mouth, and I'm gonna swallow you. I think the government should just swallow those companies, and then they will be there owned by the government. So now the government make a profit, and that profit can become for the people. I really believe that, but that's just an idea that I have. I'm gonna write a book about this, by the way. But yeah, all right, let's look at this Cenk thing.
Anything positive. So like we've broken out of that prison, and that prison was the worst place in the world, and it was filled with nothing.
Of independent media, which is created. So, as much as I would love for us to be the model for everyone, that's not the reality of most of what exists out there.
Yeah, but so Krystal, I agree with you on all of that. Again, stipulate to all the facts, right? But at least we've got a fighter's chance at online media. Yeah. And what has our perseverance shown? TYT is an out. Right?
Yeah.
It's shown that when you buck all the tides and you don't take the obvious money, you don't serve those corporate interests, and you get attacked by every side imaginable, right? Establishment, right wing, left wing, everyone has attacked us.
Yeah.
And yet we're still the largest. So now that's not just to brag or anything. There's a real point in there, which is, yes, but the audience values the truth. And so as difficult as it is day to day, oh, somebody lied about you, you lost a part of your audience. So someone else lied about you, you lost a part of your audience. But you still keep going and going and going. And those guys, they all fall off. They all fall off.
Daily Wire is way bigger than us, and they're propagandists.
Yeah, but Daily Wire has gotten an enormous amount of money from corporate interests.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
So, but Krystal, that's in the short run. No, that's in the short run.
I mean, that's just
Krystal,
that's just like new
person.
establishment media. You know, they're not bucking the system, right? They're just a new version on a different platform of effectively Fox News.
I know, but Krystal, I'm a business person, and I can see that those models are unworkable in the long run. Basically, what the right-wing billionaires are doing is they have a marketing budget, right? And their marketing budget goes to things like other right-wing media, right? Online right-wing media. And I get it, and that's a big reservoir of money that the left doesn't have at all, right? And so it's so ironic when they're like, Soros controls everything. Have you guys checked into how right-wing media gets financed, okay? Let alone the fact that Soros hasn't helped us a dime, right? As far as I don't know about you guys, but not us,
definitely.
Right? And so I get all that, but they don't have margins. It's not a real business, okay? It's not a real business if you have to rely on, as Dennis Prager does, $23 million a year from right-wing billionaires, right? That's just a short-term marketing operation. Whereas building a real business where people actually value what you're doing, value the truth, that is sustainable in the long run, and we've proven that.
Yeah.
So look, the last thing on Trump in terms of why.
And then I want to talk. And then I want to talk to him about Elon, if you don't.
No, I don't mind at all. But like
minutes, right?
on why I'm not despondent as I was in 2016.
Okay.
Okay. So there's the right wing base, but there's one other thing with Trump. He loves being popular.
Okay.
So you got to get one.
That's the point that Cenk stressing a lot, which I think I agree with that point. A lot of people pass that point, and they don't analyze that point. This is a real point. Trump is a very, very, very complicated human being. Trump is very complicated. He does like to be popular, but if you attack him, he's going to get very toxic with you. And he's a bully. So he's a mixture of many things. He likes to be popular. He respects popularity. He does respect popularity. And if people tell him that, yo, raising the minimum wage, or like Medicare for all, like, or whatever, or something close to that, or maybe like what is it, like fighting health insurance, or the price gouging of grocery, or whatever, like something like that, he might do something that is good for the people. But this is where the fight is, right? There's a fight. Trump likes to be popular, I'm going to tell you that. But guess what also? There's something working against that. He likes to hang out with the celebrity and the rich people. He likes those kind of people too. He likes the high net worth people. So the fact that Trump likes those people, that creates a fight, because if he betrays them, they're not going to like him, and they're not going to invite him to the cocktail party, So now he might regret that because fighting for Trump is a, I hate to say that, he's a bougie guy. He's very bougie. You know he's bougie. So the battle is very tough. It's like it's a battle between the rich and the poor, and Trump heard the voice of the poor during this election. He heard a voice, but he also heard the voice of a couple of billionaires like Elon Musk. Elon Musk is on his side, and there's a couple of billionaires that are on his side also, which is kind of weird, right? So I think Trump. I think what Trump should do, he should try to bring the billionaires, the rich class, and the working class together. I think there's a way you can do that. The left doesn't agree with that at all. The left doesn't think the billionaires and the working class can work together. So basically, the way I look at it, the world is like, I don't think the billionaires are have to be the enemy of the working class, because what billionaires have to understand. Look at all the strike. When you look at a strike, a labor strike or other strike, those are things against you guys. So that tells you that the working class is very powerful too. And guess what? The working class, we understand that the billionaires are powerful and we respect them. But the way I feel about everything in this world is like, we have to respect each other. It's okay for you to be a billionaire. According to my scenario, it's okay for you to be a billionaire. And I also believe that one of the reasons why sometimes I might be wrong about this. I might be wrong. I have to be humble. The reason why I take like the left, hardcore left, like Bernie Sanders did not win. One of the reasons, Bernie Sanders doesn't teach about the American dream that much. I believe that everybody in this country wants to be a millionaire. I really believe that. But Bernie Sanders is not pushing for that. He's just pushing for a living wage and the basic, the Medicare for all. Karl Kolensky is like that too. So I feel like those things are good. It's good to fight for those things. Those are the basic norm that we need, health insurance, Medicare for all. But those things, they don't give you a dream. I think Trump is looking for the dream, the golden age, the best that you can be, the best version of yourself. You see, Karl Kolensky and like whatever, Bernie Sanders, what they do is like, they make you like, they want to give you the basic. Like a UBI, $1,000 per month from Andrew Yang. Like all the basic things, Medicare for all, so that you don't die. And then immigration, and then like sex change in prison, what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Not like stuff like for you to go to the top. And they want the government to pay for colleges to wipe off all the debt of the college, even though college is not as important as back in the days. Back in the days, everything was college. Nowadays, it's not the same. So the left wants money to be spent on people, but they don't look at it. If you want to say college, why don't you say something else? Why don't you pay for technical school to teach people coding? Not just coding, but like building, or maybe give people money to build like some sort of a factory to make microchips, or to build a factory that can make microchips, stuff like that. So why don't you do things like that? You see what I'm saying? So that's what I see about the left and the right. They are both two different people. So that's where we are at right now, man.
Decent person in the room to show him how to be popular. Because I don't think he knows how. He's just grasping at straws. He's blind, right? He keeps doing A/B testing. He's like, okay, what's more popular, being pro-immigrant or anti-immigrant? He did that.
Do you guys agree with that? What Jake is saying there? Trump is just a guy that is just want to be popular, and he goes around and he's trying to like see what's the most popular thing he can do to become popular. Do you guys feel like that's what he's doing? Like when you look at Trump, because I agree with Cenk about this. I think that's what's going on with Trump. He's just a guy that wants to be popular. He's desperate for popularity.
Like back in 2015, he went on a radio tour, and he's like, pro-immigrant? No, that's not. Oh, okay, anti-immigrant. Oh yeah, okay, people like that, right?
Yeah.
So, but paid family leave is popular. Healthcare is popular. Higher wages is popular, and the right-wing populists like all that. Anti-war, anti-corruption. Those are all.
But the only thing that Trump, Jake, is forgetting is that Trump likes to be popular. He likes to be popular for the poor, but I also think he likes to be popular for the rich class, for the billionaire. And I think that's the problem. And I think populism is true. Populism, when people talk about populism, they talk about it like always the poor. But populism, you can also see it like also for the upper class people. It's not only for the poor. So that's the problem I have with Cenk analysis of Trump. So it's not fully cured yet, because he has a weakness for the poor, for the rich people too. And the rich people does influence him. He wants to be friends with the rich. He wants to be friends with the powerful. That has always been his life. So that's the battle he's having inside of his head, and I don't know who's gonna win. But he cannot deny it was the working class that made him win this election. It was the average Joe that made him win, definitely.
popular, and the right-wing populists agree with the left-wing populists. So there is an area of possible agreement there that could get something done that the establishment would never do. The establishment would never be anti-war. They would never be anti-corruption. They would be never anything positive. So like we've broken out of that prison, and that prison was the worst place in the world, and it was filled with nothing but gaslighting about the American people suck and the donors are the greatest, the politicians are honest.
I just don't know who is going to be that voice, number one, because his administration has largely been filled with, almost with a few exclusions, I think the labor secretary is a notable one, but with almost all like sort of right-wing ideologues. And number two, I guess part of what I'm grappling with as well is if you go down the list of issues, I'm all for a horseshoe, and I think there are some areas there, to work with Josh Hawley or work with, it used to be Marco Rubio, actually was kind of interesting on some of the economic stuff, like Matt Gaetz also was interesting on some of the economic stuff.
Yep.
All for horseshoe, working with elected representatives, et cetera. But if you go down the list, I think you and I are mostly ideologically in the same place. I'm sure we have some differences, but I think we're by and large ideologically in the same place.
Yep.
If I go down a list, I am on almost every issue closer to the Kamala Harris Democrat than I am to the Donald Trump Republican.
That's
whether
right.
it's healthcare or wages or labor
Krystal,
or any of these things. And so that's what's kind of, that's what...
Yeah, I understand like that you're closer to Kamala is, but she lost. You know what I'm saying? So I personally believe like the goal of the media and the goal of everybody is that you got to work with what you got, no matter what. And I also believe what Jake is saying. Just like you work with the Kamala Harris and you're willing to work with her, you can say that you can extend it. You can extend that umbrella and say that, hey, I'm willing to work with Trump too. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we are all American, so we have to work with each other. That's the way I feel about it. Like I personally feel like that's the way it has to be. Like you cannot just say that you're not gonna work with that person. All you're gonna do is bash them for another 4 years. I think what you should do, you should work with him, merge with him, so that you can contaminate. You want to contaminate the Republican agenda that is too right wing and too bad for the country. You want to put some left wing influence into the right wing. So I don't understand why is that bad for the left. It is good for the left to penetrate the right wing and to co-opt them and to make them like co-opt them. I'm saying in a good way, co-opt them more to the left so that they can do more left wing things.
What's a little bit like dissonant for me is, if we're caring about the policy outcomes, I think I'm much more likely to get improvement, not the things we would want, like Medicare for all, but much more likely to get improvement on the policy outcomes that I would want to see from a Kamala Harris. So
yeah, but Krystal, Kamala Harris is not president now. So what are you going to do for 4 years? That's what Jake is saying. What are you going to do for 4 years? So you're just going to talk smack about Jake, about Trump? What are you going to do? Fight back what? Trump has everything. I think we should try to join him. It's kind of like AI. AI is gonna dominate everything. Or should we fight AI or should we join AI? We should join AI. That's what Jake is saying.
But also, are you saying that you're actively happy that Trump beat her at this point?
No, of course not. Come on, man. Come on, Krystal. Jake is not saying he's happy. He's just saying this is what we got. You gotta work with what you got. You know what I'm saying? And you got to do the best of what you got. That's the way Jake is looking at the world. I think Jake did not do a good job at he did a very bad job at expressing himself. He said that he has like a optimism for like I'm more optimistic. Don't say that. I think you messed up by saying that. I think all you have to say is that the Trump administration 2024 than 2016. I'm more optimistic of the 2024 Trump data. I'm not going to say I'm more optimistic than the Democrat. I'm more optimistic than the 2016. I think there is a change. Why there is a change? Because the Trump Republican Party has increased its base on every demographic, every black, white, red, Chinese, Indian, like Spanish, Asian. So if he has increased his demographic, then we got to say that like, hey, maybe there's something about Trump, and maybe we need to work with him because now that voice is louder, and there are people that are on this team that's gonna yell at Trump if he does something wrong. And I think Jake is right because I have a friend that I have friends that voted for Trump, but they are criticizing some of his things. So it's like that's good what Jake is saying. I really like what Jake is saying. We need people. Actually, it's very good that more people voted for Trump. Because those people, those are not simp. Those are people that voted for Trump because Democrats are so terrible. But they're not going to simp for Trump all the way. Those are not like the simp of like 2016. Everything Trump did, I got to suck it. It's not like that. It's not about. There are some people that voted for Trump 2024. They voted for Trump not because racism or stuff like that, it's because of real valid issue. Immigration is an issue because if you have too many people in the country and people went to New York when the mayor said that the city will be destroyed, those are real valid things, and he's a Democrat mayor. I don't understand why the left is ignoring those things. The immigration thing is there. I personally am an immigrant, but I still feel like it's okay to build a wall. I don't agree with deportation, but I think it's okay to build a wall so that nobody can come in, and also to put guards around the wall. Like I think it's okay to do that. I don't see the problem. And the wall is a symbol. It's a symbol of a new America when it comes to immigration. We need to people to enter the country legally, and we need to make sure that they're not criminals.
So what I was going to say is, since I agree with you ideologically that I'm closer to the theoretical Kamala Harris
Right,
positions,
right.
that's why I voted for Kamala Harris
Right.
instead of Donald Trump.
Right.
And I'm worried that Donald Trump, again, never called him a Nazi, never called him Hitler, but fascist
Yeah,
is another word
same.
for authoritarian, right? And so, yeah, I'm worried that Donald Trump's an authoritarian, so that's why I voted, and he said to terminate the Constitution.
Yeah.
That's why I voted for Kamala Harris. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, having said that, now that he has won, right, I would have preferred an actual populist instead of
course.
what I view to be a fake populist, right? But now that he has won, there is a tiny ray of hope that did not exist in the establishment prison.
Okay, I hear that.
So last thing on that is,
Yeah.
I'll give you a specific example. Paid family leave. Is Trump likely to do it? No, of course not, right? So, and was Kamala Harris going to do it? No, of course not, okay? No, there's
I think you had a
0%
better chance with her then.
No, I totally disagree. That's where I disagree. The establishment never wavers. They will do what corporate donors tell them, not 99% of the time, 100% of the time.
That's not true.
It is 100%.
But Cenk, I can give you
I will
some
debate you on any
Okay,
issue.
I'll give you some specific examples from the Biden administration.
Okay.
I don't agree with Cenk. Cenk did not present it well. I think Cenk doesn't present himself well because then he looks bad in front of the. He's starting to look bad in front of the Democrat. He has to make the case clearer. The case is not clear. What Cenk is saying, it's not clear at all.
Okay,
Which is
can't wait.
antitrust, Lena Khan.
Yeah.
Right? The Wall Street Journal hated him for that. The billionaires hated him for that. I mean, that was a big pressure campaign they put on Kamala Harris to make sure she got rid of Lena Khan, etc. So that he was the most pro-labor president we have had in our lifetimes.
That is the lowest bar there is.
Of course.
And it's true he was the most labor president, but why did he lose? I think it was the marketing. He didn't feel like a strong president. And I think people care about feelings when it comes to election.
But these are two areas where the donors did not want this, right? And his National Labor Relations Board, the general counsel, Jennifer Abruzzo, genuinely sort of revolutionary in her approach. They ended captive audience meetings, for one example. A lot of the decisions she made helped to enable this grassroots labor organizing surge. And so, that was a break from neoliberalism. Now, he has destroyed any possible positive legacy with genocide in Gaza and all kinds of other things besides, and being so arrogant, not getting out of the way, et cetera. But he did break with what the billionaires wanted and what the donors wanted in a few key areas. And I think we are that is not going to happen with Trump. Trump has already handed so much government power, and this will help us transition to Elon Musk with this Doge thing. I mean, Elon is not only the richest man on the planet, but he also has massive multi-billions of dollars in government contracts. He's one of the Pentagon's largest contractors. And whether it's Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates or whoever, I, as a matter of principle, object to rule by billionaires, rule by unelected billionaires. And that's
a fact. I don't agree with that. Elon Musk should have no place in the White House, nothing at all. And Vivek Ramaswamy should have no place. I don't like that kind of strategy of the billionaires always have something to say about us. What I'm saying, I don't like that. I totally agree with that. They shouldn't give him a place. I don't know what to say about this, but it's I want to deal with the billionaires, not in that way. I want to keep them in a maybe I don't know. Maybe what what's his name? Trump did is okay because Elon Musk is not an elected official, so he has no power. I don't know. He has no power over the policies. All it is the Doge cabinet that department, that Doge department that Trump created for Elon Musk. That department is not a real thing. And it's not a real government department. So basically, Elon Musk really has no power, but because he has money, he has power. I think they should have just I don't know. I don't fully know what can happen there, but he's very close to Trump, so he does have access to Trump. But every billionaire do. So Like Elon Musk should have no power over the Pentagon. Like, you know what I'm saying, that is true, because he's gonna do things for himself so that his thinking can win. But this is the way I feel also, right? I'm gonna tell you how I feel about this whole situation. I personally believe that Elon Musk is good for America. I really believe that Elon Musk is good for America, because it's like, if Elon Musk win, America win. When it comes to the space race, the race to go to space. And I think a guy like that, that's the perfect immigrant that I like. I like those kind of immigrants, like Elon Musk. I love immigrants like this that bring so much to the country. It's unbelievable. So he has that kind of leverage. So it's all about leverage. If he brings something to the United States where we win the space race against China, we do things that are like better for us, and that is more profitable for us, then that's good. But all we have to find out about Elon Musk is that, is Elon Musk pro China, or is it anti China, or does Elon Musk look at China as a friend or a foe? Does Elon Musk understand that China is competing against America? You know, that's the bottom line about Elon Musk. I don't know that about that yet. I got to research on that.
Is like the most clear manifestation of that I've ever seen.
So for Biden and Obama, what they do is a release valve, right? So they'll give you 5 to 10% change.
Sure.
And I would argue that Biden at his height actually did 15% of his agenda. So for Democrats, that's like record breaking. We're only lying 85% of the time.
No, I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they say, well, look, we gave you a little release valve so you don't do a revolution. We gave you Lena Khan. We gave you a decent National Labor Relations Board. Now, of course, we didn't give you the PRO Act. Don't be ridiculous. We're not going to actually promise.
But how many Democrats supported the PRO Act, and how many Republicans?
No, but that's my point. That's my point. Krystal, those Democrats are liars. They don't actually support the PRO Act. They don't actually support any of those policy positions. Giant, enormous liars. So you saw it on $15 minimum wage. Oh, we're for $15 minimum wage. And Joe Biden's like, get it out of the goddamn bill, right? He said in the first interview in the Super Bowl, he said, oh, no, we can't.
I don't like the GM framing. I don't like the Cenk Hugo framing. That's not the framing that you should say. You should say that Democrats are a lot better than Trump by the Republican by 1,000,000,000%. That's it. But this 2024 Republican Trump party is a party that there could be a little bit of things that we might be able to do that maybe we might not be able to do with the Democrat. That's what's going on. But that still doesn't mean that party is better than the party than the Democrat Party. That doesn't mean we should trust that party. But I think like we can do things that are superior than some Democrat president. That's what Jake is trying to say. Like by saying that he's trying to. So basically, Jake Hugo is stuck right now. He's trying to make a case that like the Republican Party can, with Trump, MAGA, can do better than the Democrat, or more for the working class than the Democrat. That I don't believe in that. Like never. I would never believe in that. But I think the Republican Party that we have now is a party because of Trump that has increased his base. Because of that, Trump can be held accountable. It's not everybody that voted for Trump is going to simp for him, like the way 2016 voters voted for him. This is a new base of people. So Trump has to be careful also. So that's what he's saying.
Can't do $15 minimum wage. Why? And I remember talking to people in Congress saying, oh, Cenk, what are you worried about? It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed. Nancy Pelosi told us it's guaranteed, right? And what did we do? We forced a vote on it. And what happened? 8 sellout Democratic senators voted against the $15 minimum wage, including the 2 Biden senators.
And how many Republicans voted against it?
No, but Krystal, I stipulate that the Republicans are totally corrupt.
But are you? Because it seems like...
Yeah. I mean, you see, Jake, you're losing the debate. You're saying that the Republicans are totally corrupt. That doesn't make sense what you're saying. Jake got to sit down and write the case carefully. Maybe I need to speak to him. Oh, maybe I need to speak to Jake. If anybody can find a way for me to speak to Jake, I would like to do that. I feel like Jake got to speak carefully. Like he's not making the case carefully. I think the case that Jake is making is that this Republican Party with MAGA that has increased its base is a little bit more, has a little bit of tunnels. Like, okay, this is the way I look at it. This Republican Party that is built by MAGA in 2024 has a couple of tunnels that might not be there in the Democratic Party because they are the establishment and they are fully established. But this MAGA party is a little bit like a wannabe populist, and because of a wannabe populist, there could be a little of tunnels that we can get to Trump, or we can get to things that we might not be able to get to the establishment Democrat. But that doesn't mean that the Republican Party is better than the Democrat Party, because those little tunnels, they might fall down on you while you're going inside of them, something like that. Maybe that's an analogy that maybe Cenk should think about carefully.
saying that you're more likely to get like something real out of them than you are out of the Democrats. And look, I'm clear-eyed about the Democrats. You know, I've been plenty critical of them in their many failings, but I just don't think that's true. And, you know, part of it is that Democrats get significant funding from labor unions, and that's a part of their coalition. And so that's part of why they're,
yeah, that's true. The labor union is part of the Democrat.
The Biden administration in particular was pretty consistently pro-labor. And I think they deserve, you know, I think they deserve some credit for that.
That's true. The Biden administration did very good when it comes to labor, man. They beat everybody like that I know.
And
like we just drag him to the picket line. And he finally makes it to a picket line.
Yeah, but Cenk is not making the case clearly. It's like, dude, like, the Democrats are definitely better for what you are fighting for. It's just all you are saying is that this Republican Party has like some small inward like corridors or tunnels that you can get like some stuff that you probably would never get to in the Democratic Party. But as a whole, Republican against Democratic Party, you can do a lot more. But this Republican Party is a little bit different. There are fractures because Trump wants to be popular. So he might do things that are weirdly popular, and you might not be able to accomplish more than the Democrat, or maybe you never know. You might be surprised too. You might accomplish more than the Democrat. But right now, the way we are with Trump is like, we do not know. And I think that's what Trump is saying, Cenk is saying. I think he has to make the case clearly. I think that's what he's trying to say.
Everyone's like, oh my God, a Democrat didn't lie 100% of the time.
I'm not trying to say the Democrats are perfect, but Donald Trump is a strikebreaker. Like, he bragged.
Exactly. Donald Trump break the strikes. He's against labor union. He's against all that stuff. He's pro-business and corporation. So where does Cenk get the view that Donald Trump is going to change totally? Just because Donald Trump Jr. and what's the other guy named Elon Musk agrees with him, because those are not elected officials. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's complex, but this situation it's pretty complex. That's the problem that a Krystal ball is bringing to light. It's a real issue. We don't know how Donald Trump's going to act really.
He has been a union buster his entire career. His first NLRB and labor secretary were horrendous. So, but it kind of feels like you are.
No. Look, let's be super clear about it. Right?
Yeah.
So if you say to me, establishment Republicans suck, I agree 200%. But the Republican populist base that elected Trump did a revolution against Mitch McConnell. Did a revolution against that
establishment. Because he was anti-Trump, not because of his like corporate whatever.
Okay.
Trump.
That's a very good point by Krystal. That's what biz did increase, so we have to see what that means, man. It's like, you know.
Passed the biggest tax cut for
rich
people ever.
Nevertheless, the establishment Republicans are defeated and humiliated, and I love it. Okay,
I don't think they are, Cenk. Marco Rubio is Secretary of State.
Wow, the Republican base, according to Krystal, the Republican establishment, according to Krystal, is not destroyed. But I personally feel like what Cenk is saying, it is true. In some sense, they're not destroyed, but they have diminished a little bit. And maybe there could be some inward on the Republican Party a little bit more than the Democrat Party. But I also think the Democrat Party establishment is a little bit more humble right now than what they were before. I think so. I think they're a little bit more humble. But like, but I could be wrong, because I see that what's her name? I heard that Nancy Pelosi is fighting AOC tooth and nail. She's fighting Nancy Pelosi doesn't want AOC to have any sort of leadership in the Democratic Party. So I don't know what that means. I don't know. It's interesting.
Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, you come from Silicon Valley. You represent that part of the country. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, should this be taken seriously? Should two people from outside of government like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy have that kind of sway over what stays and what goes in the federal government?
Well, ultimately, they're going to provide recommendations. It's Congress that appropriates money. Let me provide an area where there could be bipartisan collaboration. I mean, the defense budget, which is nearly $1 trillion, is dominated by 5 crimes. There has been tremendous reporting about the waste, fraud, and abuse in that budget. The Pentagon hasn't passed an audit and has failed the last 6 or 7 audits. So if they go to say there needs to be more open competition, not to monopolization in defense contractors, and propose recommendations, that's something that I think could be supported. If they find areas of truly wasteful spending across the government, they would get support. But if they start to recommend cuts in Social Security or Medicare or Title I education funding, they'll face strong resistance. So it really just depends what they recommend.
And as you know, former Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz is out. Pam Bondi is in for Attorney General for President-elect Trump. She has been quoted in recent months as saying that the investigators should be investigated inside the Justice Department, inside the federal government. When you hear those kinds of comments, what's your reaction to that?
Well, they're concerning, and I think that she should be asked these questions at a hearing. But my hope is, I think the American people want to turn the page. They want to focus on solving their problems, on inflation, on the cost of groceries and rent, on a secure border with a humane immigration policy. That's why they elected President Trump. I don't think they want Donald Trump to go politicize the judiciary or Justice Department, even if he believes that it was politicized against him, which I reject. But I think people really want us, the country, to move on. And I think that those questions need to be asked. Who is she going to target?
And I do want to ask you about something. I want to get your reaction to the incoming border czar, Tom Homan, saying that Trump plans to withhold federal funding from states that refuse to cooperate with his mass deportation plans. Let's listen to this.
Like, I think Trump has the right to do this because it's like, yo, why are you fighting against the government like that? But the mass deportation, this is what I would say. Those states, this is what they should do. If you're against the mass deportation, no problem. Don't worry about it. But I think you should allow the Trump administration to take all the criminals only. If you committed a crime, violent crime, that's it. You can go. But I think what those states should have done, the other immigrants, illegal immigrants, you can stay here. What you need to do for us, Trump, you need to build a wall. I think everybody should push Trump to build a wall.
To me, you've got a powerful weapon, among others, which is okay, no federal funds. Boom. Last thoughts.
And that's going to happen. I guarantee you, President Trump will do that.
Congressman, California, the state you represent, is already passing measures to protect immigrants from deportation. What do you make of that threat from Homan?
Well, it's very concerning and scary. People want a secure border. They want to make sure that violent felons aren't in this country. But Donald Trump and Tom Homan have talked about actually having the military involved in going into businesses and conducting raids, asking people for their paperwork. And I don't think that's what the American people want. That will violate.
Yeah. That you don't have to go that far. I really hate to say that to Trump. I think Trump should just build a wall. Just focus on this one thing. Nobody's going to hate you for that. Because I think even the Democrats right now, the way they look at this country, it's like they lost the election. They look at it like, wow, let's just build a wall. Maybe the wall was right. But the mass deportation, I don't believe in that.
The rights not just of those who may be undocumented and here for years paying taxes, but also potentially American citizens who are caught up in the process and ask for their paperwork. So anything that needs to be done has to be done with respect for our Constitution and our values. And the specifics of what has been proposed are deeply concerning.
And I know you have some thoughts on President-elect Trump's pick for Labor Secretary. I also understand you have some thoughts on the federal minimum wage, which currently sits at $7.25, hasn't budged since July 2009. I mean, it's kind of incredible to say that that is the minimum wage of this country. You say you hope to persuade a few Republicans to pass an increase of that. Is that possible? I mean, a lot of folks are not really in the mood for bipartisanship these days. Could that be a place to start?
I hope so. I mean,
the minimum wage, I think Trump can agree with that. It's like, you don't have to make it double, but like you can make, I think Trump can agree with that. Like you can make the minimum wage like $12, federal minimum wage, $12 per hour, I don't know, or maybe $10 per hour for the federal.
Look, AMLO, the president of Mexico, increased the wage there from $4.65 to almost $14 a day. And that was one of the reasons for his popularity and why his successor won. We need to increase the minimum wage here. And I would work with Republicans. There were some Republicans who voted for it in the past to do that and to work with the Senate. And Sean O'Brien, with the president of the Teamsters, he's played a role in trying to get Republicans to be for increased wages, for basic things like the PRO Act. I actually think fairly highly in the context of the new Labor Secretary because she did vote for the PRO Act. So my hope is that we can find progress on a agenda to increase the minimum wage to have labor neutrality.
Wow, okay, so that's where we are at, man, this country right now. So let's go back to Krystal, guys. Krystal is like, I hate to say that.
The drones that are flying around New Jersey ports.
Krystal is doing a very good job.
The government knows what is happening.
Well, there you have.
So basically, so that's where we are at, guys. So let's go back to Krystal.
Let's see what happens with the right-wing base. When he goes to start that war, we're going to find out.
Yeah.
So, no, here, I'll give you two specific examples.
Okay.
Number one, on paid family leave, neither one of them is likely to do it. And no, I'm not thinking that everything is rainbows and sunshine and, oh, my God, Trump's going to be amazing. No, he is more likely to do what he has done in the past. And what he has done in the past is bad to terrible, okay?
Correct. Yes.
So I've got that at about 75%. Everyone else has it at 99 or 100% that is on our side, right? And I think that is wrong. I think there's a 25% chance that right-wing base and his desire for popularity makes a difference. I think with corporate Democrats, you would have never, ever gotten paid family leave.
I understand what Cenk is saying. He's making an amazing point. It's an incredible point. It's a very good point. It's like, it's almost like it's almost like you had a club, right? You built a club. It's called the Republican Club, and you had all those people. They were all lunatic, right? And they were saying, "Go this way, go this way." And the cult leader of that cult, right? He's the leader, and that cult leader also likes to be popular. He wants people to follow him. He wants people to love him. And now there's like, okay, so you had like 1,000 people in the club before. Now, on top of the 1,000 people, there's another extra 3,000 people that join. There's more people that join in that club, right? And those people, a lot of them are not like 100% right wingers. They are independent voters. Some of them are left wingers. So they're gonna influence Trump, the cult leader. That's what I think Cenk is saying. But that doesn't mean that the fact that they got strong influence on Trump, that you can be more optimistic about the Republican Party. That means that there could be little tunnels, that we are little corridors that we can go in, we can do things that we might not be able to do with the Democrat because the house is broken. The Republican house is broken. The establishment has been defeated, as you have said. So they are a little in way. It's kind of like the establishment. Look at it like a building. You can look at it like a building, a metaphor, and the building is fall down, so you can get access to places that you couldn't get before the building or broken. So that's what Cenk is saying. But the Democrat establishment is still kind of there. I think that's what Cenk is saying. But they are a little bit more humble, maybe. But that doesn't mean anything. And the establishment Democrats are there. They're a little bit more humble by the defeat, but the building is still there. I think that's what he's kind of trying to say. But like, in order to get to them, you're gonna keep knocking, and you're gonna get like a valve, a little valve. But I personally take the mistake that Cenk is saying by talking all this. It's like he make it sound he's saying that there's more things we can do with the Republican Party moving forward with this Trump new idea. I personally don't think so. As a guy that's a little bit more leaning left, but like I kind of feel like I'm like center left, but like I kind of feel like he's not explaining himself perfectly.
Even though it polls at 84%, they're enormous liars. All they have to do is introduce it and it passes, right? So the fact that they know that they can just introduce it and have it pass and they won't do it anyway shows you they are hopeless. They are 100% donor driven, and every once in a while release valve. Okay, so on the pressure, but on the Republican side,
yeah.
If you convince Donald Trump that paid family leave will make it more popular, he'll do it overnight because he doesn't care about Mitch McConnell.
There's a bunch of right-wing ideologues around. I mean, this is the thing. It's like
he's saying that Cenk is saying that it's the voters. But Krystal is saying that the voters are really not that they don't really care about that. They care about the alpha male in the stock market and the vibes of a strong leader. That's it. That's what Krystal, and somebody that hate the left, that always pushes back on the left, and somebody that do not like immigration.
I know there's ideologues, but then what are you going to do? Give up hope?
You just can't. No, but you have to be.
And then let's talk about the Pentagon.
No, but let's talk about the Pentagon because I do think that's an interesting point of conversation. If I look at how many Democrats support the PRO Act and how many Republicans, if I look at how many Democrats support paid family leave and how many Republicans, I'm not saying the Democrats are great, but I am saying that release valve is vastly superior to, with Trump, you're going to get some level of extremely cruel border policy, which is going to cause unbelievable pain to a number of people.
Yeah, the border policy could be cool for you, or it could just be strict, which could be like, okay, nobody's allowed yet. We need to build a wall, and I think that's okay if America is struggling. And I think what we need to do, we need to pay down the debt and take care of Social Security. Social Security and Medicare, we need to take care of that. But we need to lower down the deficit and the debt, and we need to be fiscally responsible, and we need to only take care of Americans first. That's the way I look at this whole situation.
People, you are going to probably get West Bank annexation and more brutality in the Middle East. And so I just can't sort of, I'll have a hope and a prayer that maybe something positive will come out somewhere. Like, I'm just clear-eyed about, I think there's going to be a lot of pain and cruelty and unnecessary suffering caused by this administration. So that's why it's hard for me to relate to like a sense of optimism about the possibility, even as, again, I'm all for a good horseshoe. If there's an issue, Bernie Sanders has done this also working with, I think, Josh Hawley on stimulus checks. Like, do it, great, get what you can. But also, like I said before, I think what's likely to happen, the most likely outcome is just things are going to get overall worse. And that's where I am.
Look, I don't know how many times I can repeat it before people believe me. I know Donald Trump has done terrible things in the past. That's why I fought tooth and nail against them in all of the elections. Right?
Yeah.
I know what is more likely. I know how awful the Republicans have been in the past.
Right.
Okay, the only point of disagreement is I think some of those right-wing voters are not as horrific as you think they are.
Oh, I don't think the voters are horrific. I don't think that at all. I think that there is no track record of them, constraining Donald Trump, holding him to account. He has become...
The reason why there's no record, Krystal, is because they are brand new. That's what he's saying. He's saying that there's a lot of people that are brand new. There are the voters that are old, I agree. They never push back on Donald Trump, but there's those brand new voters. Now he's elected for this election, and now they're going to push back. They cannot push back. They're not going to push back when during the 4 years of Biden, because Trump wasn't elected. So even if Trump says something crazy, they're not going to care whatever he say on Twitter. But now Trump is back in office. If Trump does something crazy, those voters are going to complain and they're going to make it loud, and that's what Cenk is saying. But I don't know about that. That's still in the air. Basically, it's still all that stuff is in the air. But I feel like Cenk is not explaining, or maybe he's trying to explain that, or he believes that's what he's doing. But I don't think that's really what he's doing. I don't think Cenk is that kind of like naive or whatever, that he believes that the Republican Party of now has more optimism. There's no optimism at all that is going to be better than the Democrat. It's just that I think not better. I think it could be the same, which is still good. Maybe you can say that, Cenk. Maybe you can say that the Republican Party that we have now, with all this breaking, the broken of the establishment, Mitch McConnell is powerless, everybody's powerless, and Trump is a bully, and all those people are powerless. The Republican we have now is that, hey, we might be able to do a couple of left-wing things that because they are powerless, we might be able to do a left-wing thing, and that the Republican Party might kind of like be on the same level or a little bit below the Democrat, but not that far away. I think that's what you're trying to say. I don't think you're saying that like, hey, the Republican Party is going to be better. I hope nobody's saying that, because it's not true. Those guys are right-wingers. They believe in capitalism. They will never be better because you are a Democrat. They will never be better. But I think there could be, like, I think Ben Shapiro did that. I think Ben Shapiro did that with Bloomberg. He was looking at Bloomberg. He felt like Bloomberg, when Bloomberg was running for office to be president as a Democrat, he felt like Bloomberg could have been a better president as a Democrat than all the other Democrats. And it's almost like he was saying that he could have voted for Bloomberg. I hate to tell you that. Hold on. I'm going to show you this video. It's interesting to see that from Ben Shapiro. Hold on. So I wanted to show you like how Ben Shapiro had a clip where he was like a little bit leaning more toward Bloomberg on the Democratic side. Ben Shapiro is a hardcore Republican, but he felt like Bloomberg represented him a little bit more. He's a businessman, he's a billionaire, and he was kind of like on Bloomberg's side. I want to show you that clip.
In which not only is Amazon and many other major corporations, some owned by the wealthiest people in this country, not paying a nickel in taxes, we have the insane situation that billionaires today, if you can believe it, have an effective tax rate lower than the middle class. So
Senator,
maybe
just the tax code. Why are you complaining? Who wrote the code?
You did. You and your campaign.
99 senators.
And he's exactly right. Bloomberg's like, what are you talking about? You were there, you jerk. Like, what are you... You're going to complain like you weren't part of the system? You are the system. This is one of Bernie's great charms, is that he can be in Washington, D.C. as part of the system for his entire adult life and then pretend that he was absent somewhere. Maybe he was. Maybe he was busy drinking shirtless in the Soviet Union. It didn't stop there. Bloomberg finally, I mean, he had enough. He had enough. Clip 25. Here is Sanders doing the... Michael Bloomberg didn't earn his money. It was all the workers at Bloomberg who earned the money through their not investing in any of the equipment, taking any of the risk, and earning a pretty generous salary from Bloomberg, who did pay quite well as the employer over at Bloomberg. I mean, this is well known. Bloomberg's company paid great. Okay, but here is...
So you see, as Ben Shapiro defending Bloomberg, and this is what's interesting, right? About like the left wing and the right wing. So Ben Shapiro was looking at... So basically, in this situation, I'm trying to show you that Ben Shapiro was the Cenk Uyghur of the left. He looks at the Democratic Party where there's a leader that's more like in him. Maybe he can work with him. That's what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? So he's trying to go into the left and look at who's the best candidate that can apply his ideology to the left wing. Because this is the way you have to look at it in politics. And I understand Cenk 100%. When you have a president, you're gonna have that president for 4 years. So what are you gonna do? Do you want to keep throwing eggs at him, or do you want to work with him? So that's what Bernie Sanders and Wokana are doing toward toward Trump right now. They want to see what the little bit of pieces that they can get. When you lose an election, you have to go for anything you can get. You don't want to waste the whole 4 years complaining about the Republican Party. And this is why I kind of agree with Whoopi Goldberg. Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what happens. And I think that's a very good thing from Whoopi Goldberg to say that. I love that.
Here is Sanders going after Bloomberg and suggesting that Sanders is greedy because, of course, Sanders saying that Bloomberg is greedy because Bloomberg has money.
Mr. Bloomberg, it wasn't you who made all that money. Maybe your workers play some role in that as well. And it is important that those workers are able to share the benefits. Also, when we have so many people who go to work every day and they feel not good about their jobs. They feel like cogs in a machine. I want workers to be able to sit on corporate boards as well so they can have some say over what happens to their lives.
Mayor Bloomberg, you are
That's not a bad idea. What do you guys think? That's not a bad idea. Like, I think workers should be on corporate board. I don't think like there should be only one person. I think there should be like a representative. I think that's why they have labor union. But I think we should melt it more. The top corporation CEO with the workers. I think we should do that. That's not a bad idea.
large company. Would you support what Senator Sanders is proposing?
Absolutely not. I can't think of a ways that would make it easier for Donald Trump to get reelected than listening to this conversation. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, like a little bit for Bloomberg. He's a businessman, and I understand what he's saying, but Bernie is all ideology. He has an ideology that like workers should be equal to like. It's going to be very tough in corporate America, and I think like there needs to be like more conversation about this.
Ridiculous. We're not going to throw out capitalism. We tried that. Other countries tried that. It was called communism, and it just didn't work.
Oh, and then Warren and sounds like, oh, you said communism. Ooh.
Yeah, of course. You see, so Ben Shapiro is totally pro Bloomberg in this one.
Oh no, we're not communists. And then Bernie goes, oh no, we like Denmark. It's just like Denmark. Really? So then why have you spent your entire adult life defending communist regimes? Like people are like, oh, that's an unfair hit. That is a perfectly fair hit by Bloomberg. Sanders is a commie. He is not a social democrat. He is not. He's not. His entire career has been spent defending communist dictatorships. Many aspects of communist dictatorships, ranging from their healthcare systems to the way they treat their workers to bread lines. Yeah, you don't get to play that card. Good for Bloomberg. Good from Bloomberg. And then Bloomberg gets in what was the best hit of the night. Like everybody's ignoring this because there were so many hits early against Bloomberg. And really, the first hour of the debate matters the most because that's when the most people are watching. But the most brutal hit of the night was this hit by Michael Bloomberg on Bernie Sanders. It just demonstrates full scale. Nobody in the media knows what they are doing. Or at least if they do, they're garbage at their jobs. Garbage.
So you see, like, Ben Shapiro here is a hardcore Republican, guys, and Bloomberg is a liberal from New York City, definitely a Democrat, but a capitalist. And I am more like Bloomberg. I do agree that capitalism has a lot of great features in it, but I think that there could be some fine-tuning that needs to be done. That's it. But like guys at Bloomberg, they need to be active in the political world and to be able to influence the people also. But maybe Bloomberg wasn't made for politics, but maybe he's made to be in the board of talking to business leaders and explaining what is the best way for America to move forward, where the workers and the corporation kind of like have like an understanding where it's not toxic, where the corporation is making money and the workers are making a lot of money and they can move up. And who knows, a lot of workers can become big-time managers or even CEO of the company moving forward.
Hot, flaming dumpster fires of garbage. Entire landfills on fire of garbage. Half of Earth on fire filled with garbage. That is the media. Because, let me be frank about this. I do not know a conservative in America who has not made some comments about the fact that Bernie Sanders has a lake house. This is a fairly obvious attack on a man who claims that billionaires are bad, who used to claim that millionaires and billionaires are bad, but then he became a millionaire, and then he started defending millionaires. Then he was like, anybody can write a book. Everybody can have a lake house. And it's like, oh, welcome to the party, Bernie. You old commie bastard, you. Okay, so Bloomberg finally had enough. Again, it was great. Bloomberg finally was like, okay, F this, man. Done. If this had been Bloomberg all night, by the way, he actually would be a frontrunner, but he was not. He was apologetic for the first two-thirds of the debate. Here's Bloomberg going after Bernie with a hatchet. And Bernie has no answer. It's the most obvious question ever asked to Bernie Sanders, because the media have been acting as both his shield and his spear. Here's Bloomberg asking the most obvious question in human history, and Bernie having no answer.
So you see, Ben Shapiro in this video, this is way back 4 or 5 years ago. Let me see, 4 years ago. And it's an amazing play here because it's very, very important, guys, to see that like he's a right-winger, but he's willing to understand a leader on the left that's like that could be more for him. So Cenk is willing to understand a leader on the right that maybe there could be something there that I might be able to work with that person better, and there could be some policy that I might agree on. I personally don't think that Ben Shapiro is saying that Bloomberg is going to be better than Trump in that day or whatever than the Republican Party. He's not saying that. He's not saying that Bloomberg, because I think Bloomberg is pro trans, is for homosexuality, so all that stuff. So I don't think Ben Shapiro is saying that, but I think what Ben Shapiro is saying is that like, if you would have picked between Bloomberg, if Bloomberg would have become if you would have been between Bloomberg, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders, I'm going to pick Bloomberg, and I think the country would have been in a lot better place if Bloomberg gets elected.
Because it's great to be an old commie. The left will defend you to the death, including members of the media.
What a wonderful country we have. The best-known socialist in the country happens to be a millionaire with 3 houses. What I miss here?
Well, you'll miss that I work in Washington, house 1.
That's the first problem.
Live in Burlington, house 2.
That's good.
And like thousands of other Vermonters, I do have a summer camp. Forgive me for that. Where is your home? Which tax haven do you have your home?
New York City, thank you very much, and I pay all my taxes.
Okay, I mean, Bernie has no answer to that. How does he think that's an answer? Like, how does he even think that's a good answer? That's amazing. His friend said, I have one in Washington and one in Vermont, and I have a summer camp. Really? You have like a full camp out there? Like with kids and swings and everything? I have a summer camp. By the way, it's not just a summer home, it's like a $600,000 lakefront property. So, that was pretty fantastic. It really was. And he's correct. Bernie is a rich human. He's a rich human with a summer home. And
So basically, this is the problem with the left and the Bernie Sanders, the Kyle Kolensky, Secular Talk, Krystal Ball. The way they approach the thing, they always keep saying that like it's bad to be rich. Like it doesn't bite, and I hate to say that to the world. I hate to say that to society. The human flesh, the human spirit, the human mindset wants to be rich, and even in the Bible, in the scriptures, I think like the book of Revelation, I think Jesus Christ said that there will be mansions when you go to heaven. They talk about mansions in heaven, so it's like the glory, and then in the Bible you see that they talk about kings and queens and people with money, but God blesses people with wealth. So it's like the left is trying to win a battle that's like unbelievably hard to win. But I think the left also has a lot of gold inside of them, like fighting for the working class, fighting for equality. It's like, you know what I'm saying? So I think the message has to be refined to make it like where it's like, is there a way that capitalism and the left can match in a way where that's like you make money, and the engine of capitalism is very hot, and you need the radiator of the left to cool it out so that the car can move, because without a radiator the car cannot move. So the left is like a radiator. The engine of capitalism is hot and angry and aggressive. It's like a Ferrari, but you need you need something to cool it out. You need a cool out, you know. So that's the way I look at the left, man. Yeah. But let's go back to Krystal Ball now, man. Let's go.
The central figure in the Republican Party. And, however he wants to spin things, whatever case he wants to make, what I have seen is people consistently, even in this era, even with new parts of the coalition, et cetera, I have seen them fall in line. And that's where the RFK Jr. and the Tulsi example comes in.
I get it. So if I said to you, who is more likely to cut the Pentagon? Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, or Donald Trump?
None.
Okay.
I mean, Donald Trump increased the defense budget every year that he was in office.
Of course, and he bragged about it.
Yes.
Okay. So I agree that none of them are likely to cut it. But with Trump, because of his right-wing base and his desire for popularity, I have it at possible. With Biden and Harris, it had a 0% chance because they work for the goddamn donors. They would never cut the military.
So does Trump.
Yeah.
Cenk,
so look,
he went to oil executives and was like, give me $1 billion and I'll do whatever you want me to do.
Krystal,
He
you don't have to convince me of that.
totally flipped on crypto.
Crypto's going to be a disaster. You don't have to convince me of that. But here's, let me see if I can break through one last time.
Okay.
So if Biden said, if Kamala Harris had won and she developed a conscience, which is nearly impossible, and said, you know what, this Pentagon is bloated. Look at all this fraud and abuse. They can't find $400 billion. That's it. I'm cutting $200 billion from the Pentagon. Even if she had done that, which had a 0% chance, the Democrats would have stopped her. Not just the Republicans, but the Democrats would have found a way to stop her and not allow her to cut the Pentagon. So there was no hope at all, a black hole of hope, okay? With Trump, if the Republicans go to stop him, if he goes to cut the Pentagon, they won't be able to. If Mitch McConnell goes and Rick Scott goes, you won't cut the Pentagon, Trump will be like, what did you say, bitch? Okay? I mean, Mitch. Okay, right? And Mitch McConnell will be like, oh, I'm so sorry, we're cutting the Pentagon, everybody, we're cutting the Pentagon. Because Trump has them bullied. That is another advantage of Trump, that he could bully the establishment, the grotesque establishment.
So his sort of authoritarian tendencies, jiu-jitsu move, end up being a benefit. It's your position.
Exactly. The authoritarian, the bullyism of Trump can work to achieve goals. That's what he's saying. He can get things done because he's a little bit of a bully. That's what he's trying to say.
We will see. I do want to just quickly, because we've already gone on a long time. I don't want to keep you too long. But I do want to talk a little bit about the Elon thing, and we can put up the Bernie Sanders tweet. You would like reach out to Elon like, hey, I'll help you cut the Pentagon budget if you're serious about this. Bernie Sanders says something similar. Elon Musk is right. The Pentagon just failed its 7th audit. That must change. Blah blah blah. Obviously, I would like to see the Pentagon's budget cut. I will tell you, like I said, I am all for working with the elected representatives, as Bernie has done in the past with Josh Hawley and others on areas of agreement. Totally fine with. Maybe my core litmus test, and you and I were talking about this before, like if I was to design the Democratic Party from scratch, the litmus test would all be around economics, and there would be a larger tent around cultural issues, even as I personally have mostly lefty issues on positions on cultural issues. But pretty core litmus test for me is we shouldn't be allowing unelected billionaires to effectively run the government. And so on this particular issue, I do come down a different place than you, because I think this project of giving Elon Musk, richest man on the planet, one of the Pentagon's largest contractors, who's embroiled in all sorts of regulatory disputes around labor violations and environmental degradation and SEC violations, giving him carte blanche to remake the government however he wants to. Like, just on a principle, I think that's a project overall that should be opposed.
Yes.
There's definitely there's nothing we can say about that. This is where Cenk has to explain that very carefully. And I think like when you look at the situation that Krystal brought up, I think the only way we can look at the situation is that Elon Musk, of course, in everything, nothing is perfect in life. He's gonna keep doing what he wants to do to go to space. But everything else, when it comes to defense and war and all that stuff from the Pentagon, we can work on that to decrease that. Now Elon Musk is going to do everything for the Pentagon, like to go to space. But going to space is not a bad thing for America. Also, it's good for us to be competitive with China. So I believe in that too.
So totally agree, but that's not where we are. So let's talk about the agreement, and then let's talk about what to do going forward.
Okay.
So this is what I told Republicans and the right-wing voters and the independents before the election. Look, Donald Trump openly brags about his corruption. He goes, I used to be against electric vehicles, but then Elon gave me a very strong endorsement.
Right,
so, now
so here we are, yeah.
I'm like, you just admitted that you are the swamp, right? And so, and he brags.
Yeah. Donald Trump, but that's kind of good, right? Because I think you want a president that tells you, hey, I'm corrupt in many ways. Like, I like, if Elon Musk give me money, I'm gonna do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm against electric vehicle. Now I'm for electric vehicle because Elon Musk is my friend. You know, there's something about that that's funny, but it's the truth. You know, so yeah.
It's about, Sheldon Adelson gave me a strong endorsement back in 2016 and 2020. That means $100 million in both races, right?
Yep.
So he said, so I moved the embassy for it. You just admitted that you gave U.S. foreign policy to a donor. And he's now done that with Miriam Adelson. You know, he's saying, oh yeah, I'll start any war Israel wants because Miriam gave me $137 million.
Yep.
On TikTok, he was even more brazen. He was like, I was against TikTok, tried to get a ban, but Jeff Yass gave me a strong endorsement.
That's right. Crypto, same deal.
Yeah, and so now I'm for TikTok, right? So he admits his corruption in spectacular fashion. It's unbelievable.
Which is good because it's good to be transparent. I think transparency, this is something weird. I look at it like that. I have a very weird mindset, guys. I feel like transparency doesn't always have to be good. Like when you look at transparency, when somebody say I'm transparent, it's not always that the data looks good. It could be like this: I'm transparent in my corruptions, so at least you know what he's doing, so you know who you're dealing with. So that's the way I look at Trump. Trump is transparent, but like it's good for us to see the bad and the good, you know.
I allow Elon Musk in an ideal world to basically have power over at least half the government just because he's one of the top donors to Donald Trump? No, I don't want billionaire donors in charge of the government, right? So that is clear and obvious. And I hope one day right-wing populists finally realize, oh, maybe billionaire donors aren't our friends. Maybe that they're rigging the rules not to our benefit, but to their benefit, right? So I understand and stipulate to all that. But nevertheless, Trump won, and here's Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy who are going to be in charge of this. Who are going to be in charge of this department, whatever the hell this department is, which is really the whole government, right?
Right, that's right.
And so I say half the government, but it's not. It's the whole government. And so how do I make the best of it? Well, we've always wanted to cut the Pentagon, right? So
and Cenk, I think that's the sentence that Cenk has to say. I'm trying to make the best of it. That's it. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to make the best of it.
If they're looking to make cuts, I suggest the idea of cutting the Pentagon. Now, normally that's where it would end. Especially if I said that to Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, they'd be like, get out of here, you loser, online media, populist loser.
They wouldn't
no way,
notice.
no way, right?
Biden doesn't know how to log into Twitter.
Yeah, so they'd be like, no way. They'd go and give a general a handy. That's and be like, oh no, don't worry, General, don't worry. Joe Biden's here to protect you, right? And so would Mitch McConnell, so would every dirtbag Republican, right? So, but here Elon Musk and Donald Trump Jr. said, maybe we do that, right? Maybe we do. Then I suggested a conflict of interest rule where the generals can't be go work for defense contractors afterwards, right? And why did Elon? This is the important part I'm trying to get through to you guys.
Yeah.
Why did Elon and Donald Trump Jr. go, all right, Cenk, attaboy? Not a thing they would normally say.
Because they like saying, even lefty Cenk Uygur agrees
with
the Department of Government Efficiency. That's why.
No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. You know why I don't agree with that, Krystal? I don't agree with that because the time that we are in now, we are the one that they don't care about. I don't think they care about the left opinion. We lost by a huge margin. So I per se don't agree with Krystal. We lost by the left. You lost by a huge margin. So they don't give a damn about your opinion. I think the reason why they said yes to that, I think it's because they really believe it. I think Trump all the time said that he's been saying that forever, that he doesn't like the war and he doesn't like the fact that we spend all that money on the wars. He said that. This was way back. And Trump does care about the national deficit. And if he cares about those things.
So, Krystal, I totally get that, and I understand that that's part of their motivation.
Yeah.
But the main motivation was not that. The main motivation is because on X, they could see all of their base going, yes, 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 yes.
Because they're
yes,
based also
yes.
like even lefty Cenk Uygur is on board with the Department of Government Efficiency. Like I understand where you're coming from. I understand where Bernie's coming from. Of like, listen, this is the world and we have to deal with it and we're going to get what we can get. If you're talking about an elected representative, I am 100% on board with all of that. With this specific project, I think it's dangerous to normalize giving billionaires this level of control over the government. And
no. We are, and I do agree with Krystal. We are not normalizing it, and we're not giving the total control. I think what's going on with Cenk, what Cenk is doing is like he's accepting the truth of reality. And okay, Elon Musk is on top, kind of like Bernie Sanders. He's on top, right? So he's gonna influence the agency. And then now we can have a discussion about all the other waste, not Elon Musk's waste, right? So Elon Musk is going to protect himself. We understand that, but at least we can talk about all the other things, and it's the beginning. After that, we can get to Elon Musk, Yeah.
your willingness to engage with it, which again, I like you're bad or evil or like whatever. Total billionaire control over the federal government, a sense of bipartisan legitimacy, and creates the appearance.
Not really. I don't think it does that. Not for me. I don't know. Maybe, not for me. I think what a bipartisan, it creates like a bipartisan that like what we are saying is that okay, this is what we are, this is what we have, and Elon Musk is here. We're gonna do this thing, and maybe we might need to turn our back on Elon Musk after we done the job. Maybe, or maybe not, or maybe Elon Musk might realize something. But I think Elon Musk, what he should do after he done all this thing and it affected it, I think he should leave the government. That's what I think he should do. I don't think he should stay there and influence the government forever.
That genuinely beneficial things are going to come out of it, when I do not think that genuinely beneficial things are going to come out of it overall, even if there are things that they cut that you and I would be like, okay, that's fine that they cut that. Because look, Elon Musk, he is himself one of the largest Pentagon contractors. He has all of these massive conflicts of interest. This is a project like any normal like Koch brothers type right.
Okay, that is true. What she said, he has all that, and it's a very bad thing. It's not good that he has all that and he has all those government contracts, and of course he's gonna fight to keep them so that we spend money on his stuff. But what about all the other stuff? You see what I'm saying? So I think Cenk is looking at it like, let me work with the pieces. You lost. That's what Cenk is looking at. You lost, dude. Your thing about like saying that all the immigrants say come in, there's no problem, and the transgender thing, that thing did not work. So we need to work with the pieces. We need to like how you say that? We need to rebuild the house or something like that. Like people talk about that sometimes. That's what's going on now.
Wing project to strip the capability of the government so that it's less able to regulate and constrain robber barons like Elon Musk or any other of the billionaire class that has rigged the economy. And so that's why in this specific instance, I think it's more important to just oppose the project outright and try to explain to people why this is a really pernicious development in our nation's history versus giving it some credibility by being, oh, look, they might do some good things and they might work with me on this or that proposal.
So totally agree, totally disagree.
Okay.
The part I agree on is, yeah, it's a pernicious project. I don't want to validate billionaires running the government, donors running the government. That was the problem with the establishment in the first place, right? And yes, Elon Musk has enormous conflicts of interest, not just with the Pentagon. He wants to get rid of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Why? Because they're the cops on Wall Street.
And the NLRB.
And why do they want to get rid of that? Because it serves as billionaire interest, right? So I'm trying to, I hope to God, and I know it's a tough task, but get the right-wing populace to realize he's at.
Yes, I don't think the right wing. I don't think a lot of the right-wing populace is going to do that. I think, okay, it depends how it affects the working class. If the inflation goes down, the grocery goes down, and Trump is doing the immigration thing, they're not going to care about what the benefit that Elon Musk is getting. They might not care about that. It's only if the Elon Musk benefit is stabbing the working class and they can see it. They have to see it and feel it.
Another donor, wake up, he's a donor, and he wants to get rid of the cops that are regulating him, right? And so
he wants to defund the police, just the white-collar police.
That's literally the analogy I use. He wants to defund the police on Wall Street, right? And so and some people online think, oh, Cenk, are you going to call him out on the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau? Of course! Consumer Financial Protection Bureau saves $20 for every dollar we spend on it. They get back $20 billion for every $1 billion we spend. But not only that, the $20 billion is money that the bankers stole from us, right? And they admit that they stole it, and that's why they pay those fines, etc. So it's actually the best part of the government. I agree with all of that. But they are in charge. We did lose. So, like...
that's the bottom line. And that's why I like Cenk. You got to be humble sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you lost... you gotta like figure out a way that like you can make things work better with the other group, and also it's like I think when you lost in that magnitude, you gotta realize that like, hey, maybe there's something we're doing wrong, and maybe we need to work with the group, and maybe this group has changed because more people voted for Trump than ever before. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a guy that live in a very blue state like California, and I drive around. I talk around to many people. 99% of people I talk, I'm not gonna lie. I want to keep it real with you guys. Are Trump supporters. I'm not lying. It's weird.
On immigration, I agree with you. They're going to do some awful things on immigration that I don't agree with.
Yeah.
But the voters did kind of vote for that, okay? And we have to be cognizant of that, right? But
Exactly, that's true. The voters voted for that, and they voted for the immigration to stop. Like just the fact that you're a white woman and you're a liberal and you want all the immigrants to come because it looks good on you, it look like virtue signal for you. It doesn't look. It's not virtue signal for a truck driver that's Latino that live in the Bronx. When he wants to send his kids to school, and there's a bunch of immigrants like that live in the hotel, or maybe I heard there was a situation in the school where they sent an immigrant to the school to learn English or whatever. That's the city cannot take care of all those people, especially when the Biden administration wasn't funding New York City after all this situation. So it's complex.
Voters didn't vote for a giant war in the Middle East. They didn't. They voted against that, not for that, right? The voters did vote against corruption at large. Yeah, maybe they got misdirected by Trump, right? But they still hate corruption at their core. So if you can make them see the corruption. Now, in the midst of all of that, though, if you say me, Ro Khanna, and Bernie Sanders shouldn't legitimize this and instead should go, hey, you know what? Cut Medicare and Medicaid first. Don't worry about the Pentagon. Don't worry about the conflicts of interest. Don't worry about cutting the Pentagon. Cut the best parts of the budget first. No.
I guess where you and I disagree is I just do not believe that they actually are serious about like any positive intent. Like I don't believe they're going to cut the Pentagon, period. And so that I think that may be partly why it comes down in different.
So me, and I understand Krystal is very skeptical. But that would be a very dumb mistake from Donald Trump Jr. But maybe so many people have said that maybe Donald Trump Jr. is not smart. So maybe because you should then Donald Trump Jr. should have never engaged. But this is the problem I'm having. Elon Musk is engaged in this. So now Elon Musk is going to be embarrassed by this too. So the Trump administration is going to embarrass Elon Musk because they all believe that they're going to do something. So if the Dodge thing and Vivek and Elon Musk and all those people look at the country in that situation and they're trying to decrease the deficit, what do you think is going to happen? Like, you know what I'm saying? They got to be careful, like, you know what I'm saying? That Trump, I think he has to serve. I think he's going to do it. But I don't think he's going to do everything that the left wants, of course. There's a lot of things he's not going to do. He's going to do... I think Trump's going to play like this. There's things he's going to do for the left, that for the working class, that's going to be surprising, maybe. But he's still going to keep his business people happy. That's why I think he fired Lina Khan, the head of the FTC.
But also, my position really is that with this particular project, because it is so pernicious to just give carte blanche to a group of billionaires with massive conflicts of interest, like some of the largest conflicts of interest you can imagine, I think to me the most important approach to that is just to oppose it. But I understand where...
The most to oppose it, let me see. But okay, so you're going to keep opposing it, and here it says that, like, I'm going to work with you. Donald Trump Jr. and Elon Musk. Why like, I want to know what will Krystal Ball do if Elon Musk would approach him and Vivek and Donald Trump Jr. Like, is Krystal Ball saying that I would oppose it? I would not fight for it? Like, is that what she's trying to say?
I get where you're coming from, Cenk.
I want to address something to the audience.
Sure.
Is this my camera here?
This is guys, this is the best part of the show. I want you to pay attention to this part. This is the best part of the show.
Yeah. So right-wing populists, it is now your job to prove Krystal wrong. Okay.
Go out and do it, y'all.
So she doesn't believe you. And by the way, almost no one on the left, other than me and Anna.
Yeah, that's true. No one on the left believes that the right-wing populist is going to yell at Trump if he does something crazy. Like if he goes to war against the whole world, or if he does things that like are not good for the workers, or if he betrays us on immigration. I don't think he's going to betray us on immigration. I think immigration is part of his core self. Yeah.
Believe you guys that you actually want to cut the Pentagon, and that you could pressure Elon Musk and Donald Trump to cut the Pentagon.
Right-wing populists, you got to come out, man. You need to cut the Pentagon. That's the word now, because now you're gonna embarrass Cenk, you're gonna embarrass Elon Musk, you're gonna embarrass Vivek, and you're gonna embarrass yourself too, kind of, because it's like you're basically saying that like Trump can do whatever the hell he wants. So right-wing populists, you need to yell when you see Trump does something wrong. You need to yell. This is not 2016. This is 2024.
So are you going to prove the left wrong, or are you going to prove them spectacularly right? Am I going to have to come on here and apologize to Krystal for ever believing in any right-wing populist and say, oh, I was a sucker, those guys are liars. All they want to do was increase the Pentagon, have more wars, more corruption, and they never held Trump accountable. We waited 4 long years for them to hold him accountable, and all they did was kiss his ass and show that they don't really believe in freedom. They said all this stuff about freedom, but they never meant it. They said all this stuff about drain the swamp, but they never meant it. They said all this anti-war stuff, but they never meant it. We're going to come back on here in 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, and we're going to keep doing a check. So if right-wing populists are frauds, I'm going to say, Krystal, you were right. There were frauds all along, okay?
Well,
but I don't think so. I think they actually mean it.
Let me just say, we already have some examples. So I'll give you one, and then we can wrap things. I'll give you the final word, and we can wrap things up here. But RFK Jr. put in at HHS, or nominated to be put in at HHS, talking a big game about getting bad stuff out of the food system. I agree with you. Agree with that. Taking on big ag, et cetera. Trump just put in at for the USDA and at the FDA a Brooke Rollins, who's a total corporate big ag. She'll be ag secretary, big ag shill. Now RFK had come with a list of here's who I want to help me in my project, and he's like, no, I'm going to go with the lady who's going to be friendly to big ag interests. Have you heard a word? Have you heard RFK Jr. come out? Have you heard any of his followers come out and be like, oh my God, they're going back on Maha already? No.
That's a very good point, man. Krystal Ball, I think totally. This is a big punch from Krystal Ball toward Cenk Hugo. This is like a knockout punch, man. It's kind of a knockout punch. But okay, so this is what happened. But Trump is not elected yet. But that's still a good point, man. That's still a good point because nobody came out. RFK Jr. did not fight, and I don't think RFK Jr. is going to fight back. And the base did not come against him. But I don't think the base is following all those details also. The stuff that Krystal Ball is saying, I never know about that stuff. So it's that's what's going on. So I personally believe, this is what I believe. So maybe this is good that Cenk is in this. I think we need a voice on the left that's going to yell at Trump and say that you promised me this, you promised me that. And then that's what we need. That's what we need.
And so that's why I am highly skeptical that you're going to see any level of expectant, consistent adherence to principle and holding of account of Donald Trump, because I just have never seen that before. Remember, before he ran in 2016, he said he was going to give everybody health care, and then he didn't, and everyone was just like, yeah, that's fine. So I see no indication that it will be at all different this time around, and I see a lot of indications that it will actually be worse because he will be more unchained and given more freedom to pursue his absolute worst and most authoritarian instincts, thanks to the Supreme Court's decision and the effort that was engaged in the offseason to get the most ideological sycophants put into positions of power and to bring everybody to heel this time around.
Yeah, I see the same indications you do of the bad impulses, but I see an indication of good impulses from the right-wing voters that you do not see. So, for example, on Team Israel, Rubio, Stefanik, etc.
I just think they're busy, They're busy, and they've decided to trust this guy, and they're just going to...
I agree with that. I agree totally with Krystal. Those people are busy. So a lot of things like that they're not gonna hit, but the immigration hits because you see the person by your by your doorstep. It's a stab in the back.
Trust this guy.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I think you're wrong. What I have seen is they don't like Team Israel because Team Israel is Team War, Team Neocon, etc.
That's just not what the polling suggests.
And so
most Republicans are Team Israel.
Okay, all right.
No, but not the new mega, Krystal. Not the new mega.
Republican base.
We're going to find out.
If you look at the polling, Democrats overwhelmingly were in favor of a ceasefire and in favor of an arms embargo. Republicans are, I think, in favor of a ceasefire, but they are not in favor of an arms embargo. They are much more favorable as a group. There are some exceptions, but as a group towards Israel. And so, anyway, I don't want to belabor that point in particular because I know you're making a broader point about a variety of issues.
And on Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, I've seen pushback on that. I've seen pushback on some nominees that I've never seen among Republicans before. So, and maybe that pushback is a mirage. And I'm not expecting it right out of the gate. Don't get me wrong. I'm not expecting right-wing populists to rise up and go, Kash Patel is a lunatic and we're not in favor
No, they love him.
Right, they love him. I get it. I get that. So those are the bad impulses. I see it. I'm not unaware of it. But I'm also seeing actual anti-corruption, anti-war impulses. And I would rather feed those good impulses than to say, we hate you all. I never want to talk to you guys. I don't trust you. And I think you're only going to do evil in the world. I don't think that's productive.
I also don't think it's true. I just want to say, just to make it really clear, when I'm being critical, I'm being critical of the elites, the Trumps, the Elon Musk, the Vivek Ramaswamy.
Okay. So she's not being critical of the voters, but she is I think she's playing a funny game because she said that. Oh no, she's not being critical. She's not being critical of the voters because she's not. I thought she was saying that when Trump does something bad, they don't yell, they don't scream. The reason why she said that they don't yell, they don't scream is because they are busy. People got busy life.
Ramaswamy. This is not meant to slime, everybody who voted for it, and that's something I've really tried to be consistent about throughout the Trump era, and something Sagar and I have really tried to engage with. I'm just, I think what we've seen in the past is likely to be what we see in the future.
So let's see if the right-wing bros, the right-wing populists, the Rogans of the world, if they have any integrity at all, we're going to find out, right? And are they going to hold Trump accountable, or are you right and the rest of the left right that they're not going to hold him accountable at all, and they're going to let him be a runaway freight train?
Rogan is supposedly going to go do some shows in Mar-a-Lago, so we'll see if he has any challenging questions about the principles there. So we may find out pretty quickly here, Cenk.
Okay, so last thing I'll say on the Democrats.
Yes.
So you're right, the establishment's going to strike back, right? So if there's one takeaway from this, it's not from this whole conversation. It's not about Trump. It's not about the right-wing populists. It's that for Democrats, do not let your guard down. They're going to bring back Gavin Newsom and Pete Buttigieg and all the corporate robots.
Absolutely.
Okay. We need the only thing that could defeat right-wing populism is left-wing populism. Okay. Or we join forces on some issues. Great, wonderful, right? But if you go back to establishment rally, that is a dead end. It has no. Forget whether you're a progressive or you're a more conservative Democrat or more corporate Democrat. Put that aside. They have no chance of winning. It's over. It's over. They're going to run into that brick wall 100 times. And Scarborough and the View are going to lie to you every time. Oh, you got to pick the corporate guy. The corporate guy is the one who's the only one who can win, right? Do not let them lie to you in that 2028 primary. It is imperative that we pick a populist left-winger in 2028. Otherwise, we have no chance of retaking the White House.
Yeah.
So that you look at that's AOC, guys. You're talking about AOC, or maybe I don't know. Yeah, it could be AOC. AOC is the only one that could be a left-wing populist.
Yeah, well, and not even just no chance of retaking the White House, but no chance of really delivering for people. And
100%.
Ultimately, I don't give a shit whether the Democratic Party wins or loses. That's, I think what you and I, where we find common ground is I actually want to make life easier and better for people in this country. So, Cenk, love you, brother. Always great.
Yeah, I like Krystal. Krystal is awesome. She's awesome. I love her. Okay, so that's it, guys. So we got to see what's going on here. And they had a great talk. Cenk is trying to move forward, trying to open up the Republican Party to make it a better Republican Party, and what that does is that could make the Democratic Party a little bit jealous, so they can start trying to make themselves better also. So it's an interesting viewpoint. I like the viewpoint of Cenk.